the wall that divided Paris, and why it still exists. In the late 18th century, Paris built a wall, not for defence, not to stop an invading army, but to control what entered the city and to tax it. This was the Wall of the Farmers General, a barrier designed to collect money from goods as they crossed into Paris. And although most of it has disappeared, parts of it still stand, hidden in plain sight. The wall was constructed between 1784 and 1791. It surrounded Paris at the time, marking the official boundary of the city. But unlike earlier medieval walls, this one had no military function. Instead, it was built for taxation. At each entry point, goods entering Paris, wine, meat, grain, firewood, were inspected and taxed. This system was known as the octroi, a city toll applied to essential goods. To enforce it, the wall included dozens of gates, called barrières, where officials collected these taxes. Many of these gates were designed by the architect Claude-Nicolas Ledoux. Rather than simple checkpoints, they were monumental stone structures, symmetrical, geometric, and highly visible. Their purpose was not only functional, but symbolic. They made the boundary of taxation impossible to ignore. The wall was operated by a private organisation, the Fermi Générale. This group did not create taxes, but they were responsible for collecting them on behalf of the monarchy. In return, they kept a portion of the revenue. This made the system extremely profitable for the collectors, but deeply unpopular among the population. Because the taxes applied to everyday goods, the cost of living inside Paris increased significantly. Wine, for example, became noticeably more expensive once it passed through the gates. As a result, areas just outside the wall began to grow rapidly. People could buy and consume goods there without paying the city tax. This created a sharp economic divide. On one side of the wall, higher prices. On the other, relative freedom from taxation. The wall quickly became a symbol of inequality. It physically represented a system where the population paid more, while private collectors profited. Writers and critics of the time openly attacked it. It was described as unnecessary, oppressive, and designed purely for financial extraction. Smuggling became common. Goods were brought into the city illegally to avoid the tax. In response, enforcement increased. Inspections became stricter, and surveillance intensified at the gates. The wall was not just a boundary, it became a point of friction between authorities and the public. By the time of the French Revolution, the wall had become deeply associated with the excesses of the old system. It represented taxation without relief and profit without accountability. In 1789 and the years that followed, several sections of the wall and its gates were attacked or damaged. The Ferme Générale itself was eventually dismantled. Its role in collecting taxes made it one of the most criticised institutions of the period. Although the wall was not the cause of the revolution, it became one of its visible symbols. A structure that made economic pressure tangible. Most of the wall was demolished in the 19th century as Paris expanded. But not everything disappeared. Several of the original barrières designed by Claude-Nicolas Ledoux still exist today. Among them, the Rotonde de la Villette, the Barrière d'Enfer, the Rotonde du Parc Monceau. These structures remain in the modern city, often surrounded by traffic, parks, or newer buildings. Their original purpose is not always obvious, but they once marked controlled entry points into Paris, places where goods were stopped, inspected, and taxed. The line of the wall itself is no longer visible. However, parts of its path influenced later developments, including the layout of certain boulevards and neighbourhoods. The Wall of the Farmers General was not built to defend Paris. It was built to regulate it, to define what entered the city, and what it cost to live there. Today, its stones remain, but its function has disappeared. What remains is the outline of a system where architecture, economics, and daily life were tightly connected, and where a wall did not separate a city from its enemies, but from its own people.